Wow, it's working. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Gaylord Opryland Resort and Convention Center. I'm Ronald Roberts, and in advance of tomorrow's Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl between the Missouri Tigers and the Iowa Hawkeyes, we will hear from both head coaches and coordinators from each team. So we want to go ahead and get started. We're going to start with hearing from University of Missouri head coach Eli Drinkwitz. Coach Drinkwitz. Coach Drinkwitz will make some opening remarks, and then after the remarks, we will open it up for questions from the media. Before you ask your question, if you will raise your hand, we will get a microphone to you so we can all hear the questions. So Coach Drinkwitz will have some remarks, then we'll open it up to media. Coach Drinkwitz.
Well, first I'd like to say thank you to the City of Nashville, the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl, the hotel here. They've just been a wonderful host for our team and our fans and our families. We've just had an outstanding experience and appreciate the hospitality. Bowl games are still a great experience for our student athletes and for college football. And this is an outstanding bowl game, and we tip our hat to Nashville and everybody who hosted. It's been an awesome thing. Our football team's excited. One of the things you look forward to is obviously the host city, but also the competition that you get to play against, and the opportunity to play against a traditional powerhouse in Iowa. Have a tremendous amount of respect for Kirk Ferentz and what he has done with the Hawkeye football team over the course of his 26-year career. He is the gold standard of college football in what it takes to build and sustain a program of success and excellence, player development. And so it's a real honor to be on the same football field with him and his program, and our team knows that in order for us to have a chance, we're going to have to play a clean football game. You watch these bowl games, it's going to come down to turnovers and takeaways, tackling, and penalties, and we've got to be clean in those areas to give ourselves a chance. One of the hallmarks of Coach Ferentz's football team is they just don't beat themselves, and so we're going to have to play a clean football team. They force the other team into mistakes, and we're going to have to do a nice job of playing sound football. Excited about the opportunity. We've got a lot of seniors that this is going to be their final football game for the Missouri Tigers, and what a wonderful legacy that they leave to have an opportunity to finish out their careers the right way. So we're excited about that. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Okay, if you raise your hand, we'll get a microphone to you.
Eli, you mentioned those seniors. What have these last few days and I guess weeks since the regular season been like, kind of taking in these final moments with this group?
Yeah, there's a ton of construction going on at Faroe Field right now, and right before we left, they'd already tore down all the bricks in the north end zone, and it was just a reminder of all the hard work that this senior class has done. And I told those guys before we left that none of this would be possible if it wasn't for them, their resiliency, their toughness, their commitment to seeing it through. And so I have a lot of appreciation for all of them, whether it's guys who've been here the whole time, whether it's Drake Heismeyer, Mitch, Will Norris, Brady Cook, or whether it's the transfers who believed in us, Joseph Charleston, Christian Williams, Johnny Walker, who was here the whole time. All of those guys, Nate Noel coming this year, all of those guys hold a special place in Mizzou football history.
Eli, you've talked about before just with the era of changing rosters, and personnel is going to change every single year, but being able to commit yourself to really building a sustainable program that won't change throughout that. Can you expand a little bit more on what those steps look like for you day in and day out, and what gives you confidence that this is something that's not just a flash in the pan, but continued success?
Oh, wow. Well, I think in order to have a sustained culture, you have to have a foundation, and each year you have to relay that foundation. I think as long as we're consistent in who we are with developing an elite edge in the strength and conditioning program, as long as we continue to focus on our core values and understand what the goal for our program is, it's front and center in everything we do. We want to chase two dreams. That's a life with football. That's a life outside of the game. We want to make sure that we play for championships, and obviously playing in a bowl game is an opportunity to play for a championship, and we want to develop an elite edge, which is energy, details, grit, and emotional consistency in everything we do. Combine that with our four core values of always compete. We want to have a competitive culture that's always pushing to be the very best that we can be. We want to build trust and respect, which is the foundation of any relationship. And that's what you're going to have with your players when they come in. If you're bringing in transfers, freshmen, or the current guys, there has to be a foundation of trust and respect to build a brotherhood so that those guys will go out and compete and finish. I was talking to Coach Ferentz last night. You know, when you look across college football, I think our two programs have done a really good job. We've had 2 opt-outs, I think, on both sides because of potential NFL futures and careers, and we totally understand that. But the rest of these senior classes are wanting to play, and they want to play together for the brotherhood. And that was something that D-Rob and Chris Abrams-Drain and those guys, JC, started last year, and I think it's something that Johnny Walker and Brady Cook want to continue. And I know that those guys' leadership will continue to exist with the next generation coming, the next group of players. You know, college football is changing, and you can't predict the future. I mean, we just got rocked last week with new rules for junior college, and every day there's a new change. But I think you have to be adaptable, and you have to have a core mission of what you believe in. And for us, we believe in chasing 2 dreams. We believe in developing elite edge, and we believe in playing for championships. And that's the mission. And if you want to come to the University of Missouri, you have to believe in those things, and you have to be willing to abide by the core values that we have. And if you do that, it's a great fit for us.
Coach, speaking of the JUCO ruling, what do you feel about that, and how does that impact someone like Tristan Newsom, who we know did the JUCO route?
You know, I've come to the point that I realize my opinion really doesn't matter. And, you know, until there's somebody actually in charge of college football, our opinions are just a wasted breath, and people take those opinions and twist them and turn them however they want to. They either use it against a coach or they use it to prove their point on social media, and it's really a wasted time. I think for me and for our program, it's about utilizing the new rule change to try to benefit your program in the best way possible and be adaptable, like I said. And so I'm not going to get caught up in making bold statements and all that. I think at the end of the day, for me, it's just about whatever the rules are. It's kind of, you know, I went back, I said this in COVID. There's a scene in Apollo 13 where they're trying to figure out how to get the 3-man crew into the shuttle, and they take this bag of stuff and they dump it out. And they're like, all right, guys, you got to figure out how to get, you know, this filter to fix this. And that's kind of what we're doing with the NCAA right now. We just take a bag of stuff and say, here are the rules. We got to figure it out. And so we'll do that. We've had conversations with Tristan. It's up to him. We would love to have him back. We welcome him back with open arms. Obviously, it affects a lot of different people. It affects our roster count. You know, to do that after the portal's been open and after people have signed and all that is a little bit tricky. But he's one of us, and so if he's one of us, he's always welcome.
Coach, talking about the program you're building, some of this momentum, what would it mean to get across the 10-win threshold for back-to-back years?
You know, I'm not really caught up in the outcome of that. I think obviously for us, it's an opportunity to play for a championship, and that's the single focus for us. It's an opportunity to play for the TransPerfect Music City Bowl championship. The long-term effects besides that, I think, I'm not caught up in SEC versus Big Ten. I'm not caught up in any of that. This is really a standalone game, and it's really different than what you had at the end of the season because of the free agency period that occurs. So for us, this is, I hate to be like this, but it's an exhibition game. And for us, it's an opportunity to take our players and play one last time together. And, you know, if you're fortunate enough to win, it catapults you into next year. And if you don't, then you came up short, and you fly back home and you celebrate the new year and you start all over. So I don't know that it carries more significance than that.
Hey, Eli. When it comes to exhibition game, as you just mentioned, there's a lot of younger guys here who have been looking for an opportunity to play and have this development in these 15 practices. Just how's that gone, and what have you seen from these guys? Because knowing that the transfer portal does exist and some guys might leave that you might have thought, oh, this is going to be a great time to develop them, they're gone. How much do you put your energy and focuses into the guys that are still there, that are trying to be part of Mizzou next year going forward after this game?
That's a great question. You know, we're a developmental program. We've always been. We play Monday Night Football with our underclassmen to try to consistently get them better, and that's part of the process. The only way to get better at football is to practice, and you have to have a mindset that always improve, right? And so for us, what a great opportunity for some of our underclassmen to get. Marquise and Josh Manning are going to step up into bigger roles this game. Obviously, with the injury to Brett Norfleet, it allows Jordan and Tyler and potentially Jude James to have a bigger role. And on the defensive side of the ball, there's some younger guys. Nick Rodriguez and Jeremiah Beasley should get some more reps. So we're excited about that opportunity. As far as, I've said this before, we had an unbelievable event last night. Appreciate the Music City Bowl hosting an event at the Gaylord Opry and being able to listen to some songwriters talk about a few different things. But one of the songwriters, she had moved to Nashville. She had been here for 9 years. And when she first got here, she had no idea what it was going to take to become a professional writer, right? And you just don't walk up and get hired. You have to work, and you have to survive. You have to sustain, and you have to go through some tough times. And she actually started a dog sitting business and was, I'm not going to use the word, but she had this dog sitting business. She would go and babysit dogs of famous country music city artists, and she would follow them and pick up their business in the grass. And she's like, I'm chasing my dream doing this, right? And she's a wildly successful writer, has had 3 number ones in the last 2 years. And it was just for me a reminder that I wish my players could hear that story, because there's no such thing as an instant success. And whether or not you're recruited based off your potential, no matter where you go, you got to develop. You got to get better. And you see all these guys jumping in the portal after 6 months of being on campus, and that's just not real life. That's like a country music star or a country music writer or star. You drive up and down Broadway, and there's people playing in every single bar, and they're extremely, extremely talented. There's 132 Division I football teams, and everybody's got talent. Talent's not enough. You got to work hard. You got to face the tough stuff, and you got to keep pressing forward. And so I hope that our players will continue to embrace that and learn from it and understand that just because you're not where you want to be right now doesn't mean that door's closed. It just means you got to keep knocking.
Coach, looking at Iowa's defense, what do you think has allowed them to be so successful, not just this season, but having them be able to be as successful as they have been for many years of recent memory?
Well, obviously continuity, right? They do an outstanding job with their defensive scheme. And I will say this, they do have nuance change. Whether you go back and watch them from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, they have developed and made changes each and every year. But there's a consistency to what they do. Fundamentally, they're going to be really good. The front six is a veteran group. They've played a lot of football together. Their 2 safeties know exactly where they're at in the fits. They can play man-to-man out there on the corner positions. They're going to win one-on-ones. They make you earn every inch. It's a really challenging scheme to go against. It's why they've been wildly successful. But they have program alignment. Their offense complements their defense complements their special teams. What they're trying to do in order to win the game. And it's a real challenge. You have to beat the whole team. You can't just beat one person. You can't just beat one matchup. You got to beat the whole team in order to have a chance to win.
Coach, can you speak to quarterback Cook's leadership, his skills in weathering some tough injuries, and what he's meant to your program?
Yeah, what a wonderful example of sticking to it, right? Of fighting through adversity, ignoring the outside noise, and just focusing on getting better. As a young man who, from day one, wanted to be here and has had to endure, whether it's been injuries from shoulder, whether it's been injuries this season. He's always put the team first. He's always tried to improve. He's always tried to be a leader. I think back to the South Carolina game, x-rays his wrist. It still shows a break. It's his call. It's 100% his call. Can you play? It's up to you. We would never put you in jeopardy. And as long as it was his call, he was going to play. and that's rare these days. And for him to be out there this week with so much bright future ahead of him, he wouldn't miss it, because it means something to play with his teammates. It means something to put that Missouri Tiger uniform on. And that's the college football that we all know and love and believe in and are excited about. And he drives a really nice Ford Bronco. He's benefiting from NIL. So there's no negatives to it. He's doing it the right way. He's earning every bit of the money he's gotten for all the crap he's had to take over the years. It's been awesome, and obviously 20-5 in the last 2 seasons. He's got a chance. I think he's tied for second in all-time career wins as the starting quarterback at the University of Missouri. So he's had an outstanding career, and he's a guy that's going to be remembered at the university.
Thank you. Eli, you talk about this free agency period.
Yep.
A dozen guys, more than that, have chosen to come to the University of Missouri, play for you. What's your message there, and why they decided to come here?
Yeah, I think the first thing is that they're not really playing for me. They're playing for us, and they're playing with our brotherhood. And it's never going to be about me. It's going to be about our university, our brotherhood, the environment that we create, and the opportunity that we have. I think we're not for everybody. We're very selective in how we approach the recruiting process of the transfer portal. We recruit a specific style and a specific player. We were able to get the right guys. Very appreciative to Laird and Marcy and the board and several key boosters for being very active and helping us raise the money that we needed in order to be an attractive place. People can like me all they want, but if I don't pay them, they ain't coming. And I don't mean that like that. If they don't have NIL opportunities, then they're not coming. So, you have to have a competitive NIL market. So, sorry, Marcy. I know that's going to get me in trouble, but tell the OGC I'm sorry.
Coach, speaking of quarterback, you just brought one in, Bo Pribula. What does he bring to the team on the field?
Yeah, I want to focus on the bowl game. We'll talk about that when those guys get on campus. This is really about this group of young men. This is about this game, this opportunity, and we're excited about those signees. But this is about the Music City Bowl. This is about the group of men that are here. And this is about Brady Cook and his opportunity to lead this football team one last time.
We've got time for one more question after this one.
Oh, that guy. Can we get to?
Well, yeah.
He's had his hand up the whole time.
Coach, can you talk about Chris Williams' leadership on the D-line and what he's meant for this team this year?
Yeah, Christian, as a transfer from Memphis, went out to Oregon, wasn't the right fit for him, comes back. And when you talk about a guy with an elite edge, he's got the same energy every day. He focuses on details. He takes notes. Every meeting, he's going to have his notebook out writing notes. Grit, during fall camp, he sleeps in the building, and he's gotten other defensive linemen to do the same thing. He wears his shoulder pads to the team meeting. He comes fully taped to every team meeting so that he's prepared to go straight to practice from meetings. And it's just his mindset, his edge, and he's consistent every single day. And I'm very proud of, you can talk about Brady and Johnny and Mitch and Drake, but man, there was this influx of transfers who bought into the culture. And Christian Williams is one of those guys. Joseph Charleston's one of those guys. Trevez Johnson's one of those guys. Cam Johnson's one of those guys. Champ Flagg this year is one of those guys. Sometimes you bring in transfers and it's so new and maybe they don't quite fit. Man, these guys sacrificed their egos and they said, hey, let's just be a part of the brotherhood. And it's not about my role, it's about our role as a team. How do we become better as a team? And Christian kind of has personified that throughout our program for the last 3 seasons.
Last question.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Coach. Sticking with the defense, tomorrow we'll wrap up Coach Batoon's first season as defensive coordinator with the team. How has he grown more comfortable with the program as a whole throughout the season?
Yeah, this is going to be one of those great deals where you get a chance to visit with Kirby and Corey and you get to ask him those questions. I don't want to speak for him, on what he's gotten more comfortable with. But I will say this, it's been a great working relationship. I think the defensive staff has grown with more and more synergy and understanding of each other and what we're trying to do. And we have a saying, low ego, high output within our coaching staff, and preference versus performance. And I think Corey's really done an outstanding job of being exactly that, low ego, high output. What's best for our defense? What's best to put our players in a position of success? And it's not about what anybody prefers. It's about how do we get the best performance out of this group of men that we've had. And, you know, we've had some deficiencies throughout the year, and I think our defensive staff has done a really good job of masking those deficiencies, playing to our strengths, and getting the best out of our guys to put us in a position to play in this bowl game.
Thank you, Coach Drinkwitz.
Thank you, MIZ.
All right. I want you to stick around because we're about to have a special presentation. At this time, I would like to introduce Scott Ramsey, President and CEO of the TransPerfect Music City Bowl, and Mike Edwards, who is the Vice President of Client Solutions for TransPerfect. They have a special presentation to you, Coach Drinkwitz, and to Coach Kirk Ferentz, if he'll come out.
Hey, I get the fun part. I get to say welcome on behalf of our city of Nashville, all of our Music City Bowl staff, our board of directors, our volunteers, and say welcome to University of Missouri and University of Iowa for this year's game. We're very appreciative of our partnership with the Big Ten and the SEC, and really looking forward to the game tomorrow. It's one of those matchups that you hope you can put together from a bowl perspective. Only the second time they've played, even though they're bordering states, since 1910. And we're really looking forward to a great game at Nissan Stadium tomorrow. A lot of cities kind of do that official welcome with a key to the city, but in Nashville we have our own way, Coach, with Music City. So our key to the city is a guitar.
Oh, man.
So, you know, we'll present you and Coach with a ceremonial welcome to the city with a guitar.
Right. Yeah. Oh, have you come down?
Go do it in front of the screen.
You know, we got to be the guest announcer for the Gaylord Opera last night. They would have let us have easy this a little dueling guitar.
That's why we did it today.
I answered all their questions. They got done perfect. I told them, don't ask me about the quarterback. Perfect. Ours or yours? Yours. Oh, okay. I want to know who it's going to be. You going to tell us or not?
Where was I?
You good?
Everybody got what they need? All right. Thank you. Coach Ferentz, if you'll join us up here. At this point, we'll hear a few remarks from our head coach, Kirk Ferentz. After his remarks, we'll open up questions again to the media, and a reminder to raise your hands. Coach Ferentz, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So that's as close as I'll come to anything musical, other than listening. Me holding an instrument, that's a little dangerous. Appreciate the guitar I got 2 years ago, and coincidentally I had our oldest grandchild started lessons, and I told her if she makes it 2 years, it's hers. So when I get back, she gets her choice, I guess, now. But really appreciate being here. Good afternoon to everybody. It's great to be back in TransPerfect Music City Bowl. We had a great experience here 2 years ago. And this one's been equally good. Fortunately, we didn't bring the snow with us this time. So, but everybody's been great. The hospitality extended. It's just been a tremendous experience for our players, for our staff, and we're certainly thrilled to be here representing the Big Ten. Just an overview real quick. You know, it's lots written about bowls and said about bowls, and these are changing times in college football, but each and every one of these games is significant. Anybody that's ever competed, I think, realizes anytime you go out there and you know, put whatever it is you do on display, you're going to try to do your best, and that's certainly what this is all about for us and our team. And it's our 22nd invitation now to a bowl game since I've been back at Iowa, and each and every one's really been special, and they've been important. And so again, we're just thrilled to be here. I think our players have done a nice job. Bowls are really interesting. You've got the bowl week, which, quite frankly, is a story in itself, and that's a different challenge. But you get the month, so it's a long time for the players. The initial part, you're bowl eligible, you don't know where you're going, who you're going to play. So that's a phase, and you get in that middle phase where the game's still 2.5 weeks out, and it's really tough to focus, maybe specifically on your opponent at that point. And then you get into the phase where you're on site, and you have to navigate through being in a hotel, being in a city that's probably got a little bit more to offer than what our guys are used to on a daily basis. So they have to navigate that. But I think the guys have really done a good job staying focused, and it's going to take that to play a good game against Missouri. They've got an outstanding football team, and just a couple of words about them. You look at them on film; they're really good offensively. Obviously, very balanced. They've got two outstanding running backs, guys we have a lot of respect for. Good offensive line. They've got a good receiver core. I know they're missing a guy or two there, if you include the tight ends. But the guy number one's a really good football player, experience and very productive. And the whole key to the offense is their quarterback. He's just done a wonderful job with his career. He's a really good football player, and to me, he's the catalyst for their offensive football team. Defensively, they look like an SEC defense. They're big and physical up front. A lot of guys, and they rotate guys through, but they've got some really good guys up there. Number 15 is just a really outstanding player, very productive guy. And special teams, same thing. Good specialist and good size, speed, and those guys really appreciate what special teams can do to impact the game. So they've done a good job there. And I think if you look at a couple other things I always peek at is just penalties an opponent might have, the penalty situation, their ball security takeaway deal, and the other thing is time of possession. And Missouri checks all those boxes. They do a great job, which just indicates they're very well coached. They pay attention to things that are important and know what to do there. So as far as we go, again, I think our team's practiced well. I think they've done a good job handling the month preparation that way. We're going to have to be. We got to be focused, and we're going to have to be at our best to have a chance in this playing this challenge. So, bowls are important, certainly. It's a chance to be together, first and foremost, for another a month. Secondly, it gives us a chance for younger players to get work and get some exposure that we wouldn't normally get, and watch, see how they progress, that type of deal. And then, most importantly, it's a chance for the entire team together, be together one more time, to compete one more time, and the seniors to wear the jersey one more time, and hopefully add to the win total that we've had this year. So, again, we're just looking forward to the challenge. A couple things I'll just share with you personnel-wise. We have three of our players will not be available medically. Logan Jones will not be able to go. Didn't make it there. Seth Anderson suffered an injury a couple of weeks ago, and he's not going to be able to go. I don't see that happening. Cohen Entringer, the same thing. So we got three guys that won't be able to go. And then another guy I just want to mention, Collar Fisher, one of our seniors, has an unmet eligibility requirement, which is kind of ironic. And I can give you a whole commentary on college athletics today, but he's a graduate, but anyway, has an unmet requirement there. So he's not going to be able to compete. He's been with us. I just want to take a minute and talk about him, because to me, he's what's good about college football. We hear about all these crazy stories. A little slip there, so he missed something, an assignment, whatever it may have been, but he's chosen to stay with the team. He's a senior and has practiced each and every day, been on the look squad. That was not beneath him. He's been doing a great job working against our defense. And I think his story, the depth of things and why this is important. Walked on here from a small town in Iowa. We've had a real history of walk-ons doing very, special things for us. And 3 years ago, I wasn't sure he liked football, quite frankly, just watching him in the weight room, watching him in our program. And it's not that he wasn't disinterested, just didn't look like he was really enjoying things. And I'm not sure what happened to him, but this happens with a lot of guys in college. Somewhere along the way, somewhere year 2 and 3, something just happened for him, and he's just done an unbelievable job. Hasn't started. We've had some pretty good linebackers. Hasn't started in the inside positions, but was our starter outside, and has been an unbelievable player in special teams the last couple of years. A great leader. Everything he does is first class. So I just wanted to single him out. It's unfortunate he won't play, but he's been here doing a great job, and he'll be on the sidelines with us tomorrow. So it's been a really good team to work with. Special team. Each and every season, there are going to be challenges, things that are going to happen. You don't know what they are. You don't know what the challenges are going to be, injuries, whatever it may be. But these guys have responded in a real admirable way each and every turn. So that to me is how you evaluate a team. So we're just happy about that. Obviously excited about this opportunity, and know we've got our work cut out for us, so we're looking forward to that. And then just, at least for our local media, just want to appreciate you guys being here and your coverage during the course of the year. I know our fans really appreciate that. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
If you raise your hand.
Hey, Kirk, with Logan out, assuming Tyler Ellsbury goes in there, what's the benefit of having a fifth-year senior like that you can plug in there, much like Nick DeYoung did at the end of the year for Don?
You just stole my answer right there. So, and that's, I just talked about Kyler Fisher, a fifth-year senior. Last year, Tyler slid in there for, I think, 4 games when Logan missed. He got injured and had to come out. So, Els did a great job, really good job, and that is a real benefit. It's a luxury item, quite frankly, to have him available. Nick DeYoung did a great job when Dunk was out, and we didn't miss a beat. So it's hard to replace a guy like Logan. Logan's not only a really good football player, team leader. He'll be out there on the sideline tomorrow and just can't go, unfortunately. But Tyler will do a really good job. Great opportunity for him. I know he's excited about it.
With Kyler's unmet eligibility requirement, at what point did you find that out? And I assume probably Jackson Rexroth will be filling in that Leo spot unless you have something else planned.
Yeah. Did you first question when we found out?
Yeah, when you found, what kind of was the timeline for this whole thing?
We saw it coming maybe a couple of weeks ago, somewhere in December. And, he made every effort to make it to the finish line, but just wasn't able to. So it's unfortunate. And, I've got a son who graduated. I got 3 sons that have graduated from Iowa, and one I remember in May just asking him distinctly, you sure you got this thing measured up? Because I was just watching what he was doing. I wasn't quite sure. He made it maybe by that much. And the irony here is, like, Kyler's a graduate. That's just part of the deal. But it's a tough break. Nothing malicious, anything like that. And just he's the one who's hurting him more than anybody. But we'll be fine. Rex Roth will be out there, whatever, and we'll be fine.
Okay.
Coach, I want to ask about a former player. Yesterday, Marshall Yonda was named one of the 15 finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. If he gets nominated and he is in there, he'd be your first former player to be a Pro Football Hall of Famer. Just tell me about maybe a memory of Marshall and what he means to you, what that would mean to have him in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Got a million memories. Somebody told me last night that would be the first one, which I hadn't really thought about. And first of all, when they start out that initial list, I look at it every year, and there's not anybody on there that's not a great player. So I don't think the average person, average fan really appreciates how tough it is to make any Hall of Fame, whether you talk about the College Football Hall of Fame or you talk about the NFL Hall of Fame, because there are so many really good players that aren't in it. So for him to make that final cut, I think it's 15. That's unreal. It's even more impressive because of the position he plays. It's kind of an underappreciated, devalued position, if you will, although there are a couple guys that have already gone in. Russ Grimm, who I was with in 1980, one of the best players I've ever been around. And, I think, left guard from LSU for the Steelers. Alan Faneca, I think, is in also. But anyway, it's really tough for a guard. But it speaks to Marshall, and my first memory of him is, boy, we made a mistake. We recruited him out of junior college. He recruited us, quite frankly. Got here in January, mid-year, and I watched him in the out-of-season program. I think, oh boy, this might not have been a good decision. Wasn't the prettiest car in the lot, and it wasn't until we started practicing with pads, real football, all of a sudden I said, okay, went from being a redshirt possibility to maybe our best lineman. That would have been spring of '06, I think. And better than the way he plays is his attitude. He's just absolutely unbelievable. He's our honorary captain for the Wisconsin game, and his message was one probably every human being should hear, but certainly every athlete should hear it. But that's who he is. He's realizes failure is part of improvement and growth. He's fully appreciative of that, and he's battled through a lot of things, whether it was setbacks on the field, injuries, but his attitude is just so strong and powerful, and that's the beauty of him. And he and his wife, Shannon, are raising 3 young kids right now near Iowa City, about 25 minutes away, and it's really fun to watch, really fun to watch. So we just keep our fingers crossed and wish them all the best with this selection.
Kirk, is obviously no secret. You guys brought in Hank Brown. You're potentially looking for another quarterback in the portal. How have you seen Brendan Sullivan kind of embrace that competition, embrace getting a chance to showcase what he can do now that he's fully healthy? And how have you seen him just kind of attack it?
Yeah, I mean, he's attacked everything since he showed up in June, and I think it's maybe one of the most impressive things he's done. Is he got here late. That's late in the game to get here in June, miss spring practice, but he works at everything diligently, physically, mentally, and is a sharp guy. He was a graduate when he got here, and so it's not an issue in his want to and willpower, just really impressive. So I think he's his own worst enemy at times because he tries so hard and competes so hard. So we just got to get him to play calm a little bit. Each and every snap has been just so important for him, and the good news is he's been pretty much healthy since we got going a couple of weeks ago. So I think we watched him the first couple of practices, but other than that, he's been full speed and had a really good morning this morning. So that's encouraging. And he's got to go out and play, and it's like every position, but quarterback, it's easier to say it than do it. He doesn't need to win the game. He just needs to play his position, play it well, and let the team help out to do their part. And that's everybody's job. But he did a really nice job. So really pleased with where he's heading.
Sorry, hey Kurt. Caden Weechton told us the other day he's still not on scholarship. I was curious if
Is or isn't?
He said what's that?
Is he is or isn't? Yeah.
He said he isn't. Yeah.
Yeah, we're still contemplating that, but yeah, no, I'm joking.
How do you see the offense being different without Caleb Johnson in this game?
Well, I mean, it's obvious. He's one of our best football players, and if you'd asked the same question in 08 when Sean Green was playing, you're going to be different with him not being in there. But, we've had guys historically step up, and that's what we're counting on here. I'll go back to Jermel Lewis stepping in when Fred Russell might have been out. I'm going way, way back. Look that one up in the archives. Thinking about last time we played Missouri, we had a freshman running back run for 219. I did look that up to make sure I had my facts straight. So that's a great thing about bowl games. It's a great thing about football. Everybody's got an opportunity, and got a couple guys between Kamari and Jazz, I think, are really eager to have that opportunity. For any of us to think they're going to be Caleb, that would be mistaken on our part. And they don't have to be. They just got to be themselves because they're both good players. And we got a couple other guys too that may end up in there. We'll see how that goes. But I'd be perfectly happy if the two of them can split the load. If we're going to win the game, we're going to have to run the ball a little bit. And they know that. We know that. So we're going to have to find a way to do that. Obviously, we're going to run it. We're going to have to throw it. So, I mean, this is not rocket science, but that's the key. And I'm confident those guys will do a good job. They've been really pretty much on task. I've talked about Caleb a lot this year, and I could say the same thing about both those guys. They're different players than Caleb, but they've been totally focused. They've had a good chemistry, the three of them, and now 3 is 2. So here we go. It's only 60 someplace, so not that big a deal. John McKay said the ball's not that heavy, so here we go.
Hey Kirk, just feels like every year the vast majority of your guys really look forward to playing in the bowl game. You don't see very many opt-outs. 2 years ago, Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta, Riley Moss, Van Ness, all those guys decided to play. And this year, same case. Why do you think your players continue to make this choice, because there is the inherent risk of playing in a game, obviously, but why do they continue to make the choice, to suit up?
Yeah, I mean, I remember in college, one of the best players on our team finished his career and he blew an ACL out crossing the street, literally misstepped on a curb. He ended up playing for the Jets for a little bit. So in my 4 years, I was the only guy that, for the record, went on to the National Football League. We didn't have a lot of abundance of players, and I would be the showcase of that. So, but anyway, I think our guys play for the right reason. And, the good of the game is just a chance to be together, go out and compete together, and go through the work leading up to competition. I think that's a big, if you don't like that part in football, you're probably in the wrong sport because, pro baseball, 162 games, basketball, 80 plus. So you're playing a lot more than you're practicing or working. And so that's kind of the nature of football, and I think, the nature of, being part of a team, all those kinds of things. Talk to any former player, the good ones, that's what they miss. Going back to Yonda, that's what you miss when you're done playing. So I think we just, we've been very fortunate. We've had a lot of really good young guys in our program. A bunch of them on this team, too, same way.
We have time for one more question.
Hey, Kirk. I know you mentioned seeing some of the young guys go through the bowl prep and see who's standing out, see who's progressing. Any names come to mind, or
No, you don't think I'm sure of those, do you? It's funny. In fact, I was walking in, we had an event last night, a bowl event, which is, I'll put a plug in, okay, the Trans Perfect Music Bowl that we get to go to the Opryland. And it is easily, okay, this is unsolicited, easily the best bowl event. I've been to a few bowls, no, I think 30. I counted it somewhere this week, 30 in my career. It's easily the best event for head coaches to go to. I've been a head coach 30 times, but it's just a really neat thing. But anyway, so how I got on that. Coming out of that event, one of my friends, guys to teach school with 100 years ago, was here. And we're walking down the hall and walked past one of our younger players, a freshman, and just said this guy might be one of those guys. So I'll let you guys figure that out somewhere next fall. Hope I'm right, we'll see. But yeah, it's been fun just to watch the guys work. There's good and there's bad, right? So you watch the guys work that maybe have been on the scout team, you don't get to watch every day doing what we do, and that's kind of fun and exciting. And then there's some anxiety too, where you're looking at some guys that are gonna have to replace some of the seniors we're losing. And, you're like, oh boy, I don't know if this guy's, name a guy, Jay Higgins or, Mason Richmond. But we still got till next September to get those guys ready. And, but just in general, the guys work with a good attitude. They've been out there trying to get better, and they have been getting better. When you're too close to it and seeing it every day, not every day, but, you're seeing it day after day, it's like anything, it's like your own kids, and then when you're gone for a week, you come back, it seems like they grew a week or an inch or two. And so anyway, it's interesting, but we'll see what spring ball brings. So more commentary maybe at the end of spring. We'll see what it looks like. Hopefully guys will keep growing. Okay, thanks very much.
All right, in a moment, we're going to hear from the coordinators from the University of Missouri, defensive coordinator Corey Batoon and offensive coordinator Kirby Moore. So they'll be up in just a moment. They're en route. They should be here in just a moment. When Corey and Kirby come up, they're not going to make comments. We're going to just open it up. We're going to start with questions from you guys. Come on up, gentlemen. Again, we have defensive coordinator Corey Batoon and offensive coordinator Kirby Moore. If you have a question, please raise your hand and we will get a microphone to you.
Hey, coaches, for both of you guys just coming out of bowl practices here, curious who maybe some young standouts have been on both of your sides of the ball and who's had an impressive last few weeks.
Yeah, I think there's a ton of opportunity in this game for our guys on offense. Some senior guys too, right? Up front, Mitch Walters, Drake's done a great job down the stretch. Within the tight end group, Tyler Stevens, Jordan Harris. And then at receiver, Marquise Johnson, Josh Manning, Daniel Blood. James Madison's going to get some time out there, and Logan Muckey. So really just excited to see those guys go out there and compete.
Yeah, I mean, it's an awesome opportunity. You kind of get a bonus spring ball. We had 15 practices in, I think 14 or 15. So you get a chance to really see some of those young guys, back up on the varsity. We worked some good on good early on. So it kind of kickstarts you in terms of spring practice. Yeah, so it's been awesome for those guys.
For both coaches, Coach Moore, for you, just how would you evaluate year two? And then for you, Coach Batoon, how did year one go, and what went well and what didn't, and what would you want to improve on?
Yeah, I'm very, very appreciative of our guys' consistency, doing the work, having belief, working through adversity, The offensive staff being very collaborative, solution-oriented. There's a couple games there, right? We didn't play our best, but then adapting, adjusting, and improvising and finding ways to win. Coach Strink talks a lot about having grit, and that's one thing over the last 2 years. I believe the stat, someone brought it to my attention, we've been in 11 one-score games and won 10 of them. And a huge part of that is having belief that you can get it done.
Yeah, I spoke to some of the seniors, the last true unit meeting we had, and was so appreciative of through the transition, their buy-in. I think that really helped us, not fall back, in a transition year. But super appreciative of those guys, the work they put in. Things that I'm, was really happy about this past fall. I thought. Again, like Kirby said, the amount of close games that you play, one-score games, it talks about, the camaraderie, it talks about the brotherhood, the belief in one unit to the other. And those are things that I'll cherish, as I look back on this season, being able to win those tough games. And really, you're one possession away from really being in a great situation. But super appreciative of those seniors and what they mean to us in their program.
For both of you guys, respectively, you talked a little bit about the opportunities that are going to be created in this game. So for you, Kirby, could you just talk a little bit more about kind of the trio of sophomore wide receivers that might be getting more opportunities, and then Corey, Nick Rodriguez, and then Jeremiah Beasley?
Yeah, first, Josh Manning, from the start of the season to where he's at right now, has done a tremendous job of growing, playing faster. A huge part of our offense, right, when Mookie went down, Daniel Blood is a glue guy. We can move him around at different positions throughout the offense. James Madison has grown, right, with the extra practices, going with the first and second group, rotating in, and then Logan Muckey, a guy who's played a ton on special teams, who we'll use within the offense in this game. It's going to be a challenge, right? Iowa has set the standard for defense in college football, and they don't give you anything easy.
Yeah, those two freshmen you mentioned, Nick, both of those guys, and Beasley, again, those 15 practices have an opportunity to be up, inside run, going against the ones. Both those guys, will springboard into bigger opportunities with the amount of seniors that we have walking out the door at that position. So every opportunity, every practice, every inside drill, every skelly, buying in and really trying to bonus those reps is going to help with their momentum, going into spring as they compete for their role, a different role in next fall's team.
Kirby, with Luther and Armand having played their final games as Tigers, can you just speak on what they've meant not just to your offense, but to the program as a whole too?
Yeah, very appreciative of those guys buying into the offense. Consistency, I know overall as an offense, that's one thing that really grew throughout the season last year, carried into this season. And then overall, everyone, the emotional consistency that they showed. It's hard within the realm of college football right now. There's a ton of ups and downs, and they stayed the course and continued to work, and were a huge part of our success.
For Coach Moore, I'm curious what the last couple weeks have looked like for you, working with a quarterback who's about to be in his last game, but then also going out and signing a pretty big quarterback for next year. Just what does that balance have to be?
Yeah, that's the calendar in college football. Building for next season while finishing this season with the bowl game. Really want to finish this season the right way for Brady Cook. Just extremely appreciative of what he's done for me. His wife watches our kids, right? So on a daily basis, helping out my wife. He's a winner. He's been consistent, emotional consistency, and just his ability to win 20 games in the last 2 years.
For both of you guys, what has this senior class meant to you? Corey in your first year, and Kirby obviously having a bit more experience with them. What have they meant to this program?
Yeah, I think the continuity that they bring, there's a couple of new staff members. There's always change in the locker room, especially with the portal. But those veteran dudes have been a bridge for us, from what's expected to what becomes, in terms of the transition piece. their ability to come in to work every day, regardless of situation, good, bad, coming off a win, coming off a loss, every day is the same day, and consistency is huge, and that's what we're going to miss, right? As this next group transitions in, high school transfers, that's going to be another opportunity for the rising seniors to kind of establish that role. And it's always cool to see that, right? There's that void that it's neat to kind of organically see those guys fall into those roles. But the guys leaving, just so thankful for the type of work and the mindset that they carry in that building.
Last question.
Coach, you talk about the seniors and how they're leaving, but how is Chris Williams kind of grown as a leader, and what has he meant to this defense as a captain?
I'm sorry, who are you speaking of?
Christian Williams.
Oh, Christian, okay. We don't call him Chris in the building. No, Christian's awesome. He's different. He sets the tone on our defense in regards to attention to detail. He's first dude in the building. He's down in treatment. A model of how to do things the right way and be a pro about your business. I think he's really helped some of these younger guys transition-wise, what it's supposed to look like, right? Being able to model those things. Tremendous leader, tremendous in regards to, just being able to actualize those things that as a coach, you try to hold him to a standard, but the peer leadership that he demands, I think, has been awesome for him.
Thank you both. All right, in a moment, we'll hear from University of Iowa defensive coordinator Phil Parker and offensive coordinator Tim Lester. So they'll be coming up in just a moment. They will be making a couple of brief remarks before we open it up for questions. All right, again, we have defensive coordinator Phil Parker and offensive coordinator Tim Lester. They'll make a couple of brief remarks before we open it up for questions. So we'll start with Coach Lester.
Well, I appreciate everyone being here. For us, for me, it's been an unbelievable first season to be with Coach Ferentz and the staff. And when I got here in February, threw a lot at these guys, a lot of new. They've done a great job of coming together, and this senior class has really led us. It's exciting for us to be at a bowl game. It'll be our last time with these seniors. They've meant a lot to this program. It meant a lot to me, especially coming in, putting a lot of new stuff in. So, I'm excited for them and excited for their opportunity tomorrow. The last thing would be, it's been a great month, for us putting in a new offense and having a chance to really have some focused practices in the last month, watching our guys continue to get better, the young guys getting reps, getting better. And so it's been very valuable for us as a program, and we're excited to be here and excited for the game tomorrow.
Coach Parker.
Well, thank you everybody for coming, and I appreciate it. And I know some of you guys that got to travel here to cover us, and I really appreciate you guys doing that. I heard a couple stories already, but I'd really like to thank the bowl committee here to select us. This is nice to be down here in Nashville. It seems like I've been here many times over the years, whether it's a convention or whether it's a football game. But it's really been a good week. We just finished practice. Our last one was today. It looked like the kids were polished. Really happy for them. We have a lot of seniors that, we got 7 seniors that are going out, and this is going to be their last time together to play. So we're looking for a good outcome for this. And obviously, through the years, this year we had some up and downs during the season, and I like the way the guys responded. There was a point in the season there where, it could have went the other way, and coming back and getting 8 wins is very significant. And I think, to win 9 in college football nowadays with all the things that go on and how things are moving around in college football. But, we're looking forward. It's going to be a tough matchup for this. Missouri's a good football team. They're well coached, and it's going to be a challenge for us. They have some guys out. We have some guys out. So looking forward to any other questions you guys like to add.
Okay.
Hey, Phil, you mentioned 7 seniors. What have you seen from some of the younger guys as you prepare for this bowl game that have stepped up, and your thoughts on some of their performances?
Well, one thing about it is we had a lot, obviously 8 guys coming back, and a lot of these guys, you've been seeing them, but it was a great opportunity to get a guy like Lutmer some reps, and Cohen to get some reps and see him grow as a guy that's the upcoming guy that's going to be on the field a lot next year. And then the linebacker group, we got a lot of young guys in the linebacker group that was getting a lot of work, and you go back to this whole month of how many reps you can take, and how then we wait for spring ball to come and see their growth, which has really been important for us as a program that's a developing program. And we got to make sure that you keep your guys in our building, make sure they're all on the same page. And I think they've all been working hard, and I think this is a good event to send these seniors out on a good game on tomorrow, Monday.
Appreciate both you guys. Tim, it's been no secret you guys went out and got Hank Brown. You guys have been exploring the possibility of adding another quarterback in the room. Brendan Sullivan, how has he looked just kind of attacking, knowing that, there are other quarterbacks that could potentially still being recruited? How's he looked since he got back from his injury? And what's it say about him to say, hey, no matter what happens, I'm going to stay at Iowa, I'm going to compete, this is what college football is all about?
Yeah, he's an unbelievable young man. I think you get that when you meet him and you watch the way he plays the game with the passion that he plays with. And it's ironic because I brought him in here, in the offseason to compete with Kate, and so no surprise that you want competition at the most important position on the field. And he's ready for it. It's been great to have him back. He's back, he's healthy. He tried to come back as fast as he could. It's hard when you're a mobile quarterback and you're not mobile. But it's been great. He's moving around great again, throwing the ball. I think his feet are getting better. He's getting more comfortable within the offense. He got here in late June, early July, so it's not like he even had a spring ball. So this month has been huge for him and really for everybody. We talked about the young guys and how many reps they've gotten. But yeah, he's sharp right now. And I'm glad that, Jackson got the reps that he got late in the season too. So we're very fortunate that they had that. Now afterwards, it's great to look back and see how many reps different guys got, and should help us moving forward.
For Tim, for seeing Hank Brown, kind of what has stood out to you about him, both since he got here, I think last Friday, and also kind of what you saw in film when you were evaluating him in the portal?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with quarterbacks, when they come to practice for bowls, they're spinning, right? Coach does a great job. We talk about being a developmental program. So we were able to get him and Jimmy, our 2 new quarterbacks. They can't play in the game, but at the end of practice, we always do a Devo period, a development period. And so I just threw them in, both of them. And they are literally been there 24, 48 hours, and I got them running the show. And so those are invaluable, for the next month before they actually show up, where they're at now compared to where they were 6 days ago. Such a huge opportunity for them, So I'm excited for both of them. They both had ups and downs in their 6 days here, but they've definitely showed some promise, and smart, good feet, and hopefully just trying to build that room, to have a bunch of competition in the room. It's always the most important room to have good competition in, and I think we're going to have that.
Kind of then, as you're building the room, kind of how do you evaluate your level of need kind of moving forward still in the portal?
We're always open. The world is changing, right? So we're always looking to see what opportunities we have to continue to build the room. We still, I think, don't have enough in there. I'd like to have 5 to 6. I think we're at 4 or 5 right now. So if the right person comes along that we think fits our culture and Iowa, then we'll definitely go after them. And I'm looking forward to. I'm excited about the guys that are in there. I'm excited about the competition that's gonna come.
Hey Tim, you talked so much about the Shanahan offense, how it's predicated on timing.
Yeah.
So how much was this month good for your passing piece of the offense, and just how much growth did you see there? And does it give you more confidence to call passes on Monday?
Well, really, this whole month, you're trying to work on the things you need to work on, right? We're definitely going to be a different team. Caleb had an unbelievable season. It was so much fun to watch him play, and so we'll be without him. So that the offense is going to change to a point. But that's really what we worked on. Try to get better at the pass game, get better at our timing. I really think the receivers are starting to understand the timing of the whole thing, along with the quarterbacks. And the only way to do that is to practice it, right? Time on task is a real thing. And we've taken a lot of time over the last month to work on those things. And so, our timing has gotten better. We have to find a way to be explosive, right? And this year, sometimes handing inside zone to number 2 was our most explosive play. And that's my job as the offensive coordinator, is find a way to be explosive in every game, no matter how that has to happen. So we got to find a way again tomorrow.
Hey, Tim. Regarding receiver in particular, talking about the young guys that you've seen emerge over this time, any of those guys, because, it's a young group, right?
Yeah, they're all young. Yeah, the ones that are playing are young.
Any guys that have continued to grow in particular over this month?
Yeah, I think a lot of them. Getting Reese back, as a true freshman, played quarterback in high school, was just kind of hitting his stride as a receiver, and then got hurt and was out, I think, 6 weeks. So he kind of had to reteach himself, and he's been coming along. And really all the young guys have come along. KJ Parker's a guy who redshirted, who's got a ton of reps, which I was excited to watch him out there. He's been down with Phil. So it's been fun to have him out there. But all of them, Dayton Howard's gotten better. They really all have. And it's when you go, when you're at the Green Bay Packers and you bring all these rookie wideouts, and it's about how fast can they learn it, because then they stop thinking and they start playing. And you started seeing that with some of the young guys. And it's obviously harder when the lights are on, tomorrow at 1:30, but we've seen a lot of growth from the receivers, the tight ends as well. There's some young guys there that we think got a lot better in the last month. And hopefully it shows tomorrow, but I've been really encouraged by the last month and watching the whole unit, the passing unit, get better.
This is our last question.
Hey, Phil, I wanted to ask you about Nick Jackson. There's so much is made about the transfer portal these days, and here's a guy that, comes into your program, seems to really fit right in, and gives you 2 years of a strong production. Can you just talk about maybe the impact that he's had on your program, and maybe somebody with similar qualities you'd like to, maybe bring in the portals sometime soon?
Well, right now, I tell you, when we first recruited him and just going down and visiting with him, which was kind of awkward being, going to visit other guys that are at a different school, but it was a unique situation. And he was just the right fit for us. He matched our guys. He came in and blended in with our guys. He learned a lot of football, and he became a good leader, in that aspect of it. And, Jay helped him along the whole way, and I think Coach Wallace does a good job with those guys, and they're really like coaches on the field, so it's really excellent. But, right now, I don't know if we're going to go out there and experiment in the portal to try to bring in another linebacker. I think we got a good group of guys right now that we're working with. You got to be very careful that you bring in the right guy into your program and don't want to disturb the locker room. I think that's the most important thing right now in college football. As you can see it's definitely different, and I think it changes, and you can see the quality sometimes might be slipping a little bit just for the lack of, guys being together.
Okay. Coach Parker, Coach Lester, thank you both.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
For those of you who may need parking validation, please see Nikki in the back. She's waving her hand.